Hello and welcome to one of our Platform Insights series interviews. I am absolutely delighted to welcome Christina Mertens, Vice President of Business Development at Mertens Data Centres, a company I'm sure many of our viewers know very, very well. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you.
So before we get started on in-depth data-centric questions, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you ended up in our weird and wonderful sector.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nicole. So, I've been in the industry now for a little bit over 10 years, and it actually started with AWS. So, my background is actually finance, classical, did some bit of Deloitte and M&A before. And then I changed to Amazon, where I was working from a logistics point of view in customer service. And it was by chance that by developing my career within Amazon, I got across a manager from AWS, and at that time I did not know anything about the cloud data centers. I didn't even lose a thought about it, but it was such a nice conversation, and it was they were looking for someone that they were kind of saying like a Swiss Army knife, someone that can go and juggle around everything. So that's when I within Amazon I did a change of career going to AWS, and I started in a very nice team which was about working with the colocation providers, with the AWS business development team and the operations, kind of like a hybrid role, being the communication between those different angles. And I learned so much and so quickly about this industry, and from there my career just kept on going. Had various different roles within AWS. I was within the business development team there. I was leading the strategies from the colocation strategies of multiple European clusters. Was a country manager of Germany and Spain at AWS, and then my last post there was working in the data center divestiture team, so working also with AWS end customers that were looking to go into the cloud and divest their assets. I was getting a completely different angle, which was very interesting. And then about 3 years ago, a little bit over that, I took the chance and said I'm going to now change to the other side, and I started at Mertens, and it was a very exciting time because that was just when Mertens decided to take the success from UK, being the biggest colocation provider and hyperscale provider in the UK, and now taking that platform into Europe, and that's basically what they hired me to do. And past 3 years have been super exciting.
What an interesting career, and having that M&A background and that finance background, it's quite unusual to end up in the role that you're in at Mertens via the way you came through.
Exactly.
In a very wiggly career, to then, the amount of knowledge you've got across those various different pieces, and we've just heard from some experts on a panel we've been listening to about that holistic view of the entire sector. And I think it's fairly safe to say that with your background, you've got a very, very holistic view of everything that is going on.
Absolutely, and I think that is one of my strengths. I would say that it's not just one classical point of view, but I really can look at it from different angles, understand the customer side, so the demand, right, but also now being from a supply side, but then also speak that investor language. Right, and I think that triangulation of all of that is super important.
Really important and very unusual.
Thank you.
Very unusual. Now, we are in the lead up to our Platform UK event that will be the third year in 2026, and obviously Mertens is a name that anyone active in our sector across the UK will know very, very well. Tell us a little bit about how Mertens has evolved from over the years and it is a fixture in the co-location market across the UK, and obviously now in Italy and in Germany, but UK was always its home. So explain a little bit about the evolution that we've seen so far.
Absolutely. So it's quite funny because I can speak from it now being part of Mertens, but also from being on the other side, from a customer side, and also seeing that involvement. So Mertens started with 2 megawatt data centers,
which seemed big at the time.
I know it was. Yeah. It was. I remember, when not with us, but when I say that was when we were doing deals that were like, going up to 1 megawatt, which is like it's huge. And now it's nothing. But yes, no, and I think Mertens has had a very, very successful career and evolution. Started quite small, which back then was big. But if we also look at how we developed, I mean, one of the flagship deals also within that time was, going into campus, securing, our site where we're doing, just not just one data center, but having that vision of, what do our customers really want in the future. And I mean, Stockley Park, at that time, I think everybody thought Vertus mad, right? It's like, who is going to want so much capacity? It's going to be 10, 15 years. And I remember also back then being from a customer side, the first time they presented that, I was like, yes, that's what we should be doing. That's what colocation providers should be doing. Like, you can grow into it. And I always like to say, for Vertus, we're many things, but one thing that is company's DNA really is like we're really bold. And that was a really bold move. And that's what we've seen continuing doing now throughout. Now, we're also with our newest site in the UK, our Sonderton site. It's also, it's a little bit outside of the, where everybody is, and it was also kind of a bit of a bold move. I'm like, do we take that risk? And also in such a scale, right? And we're seeing it as absolutely the right thing to do. And that
wasn't a small risk. That's an enormous.
No. That's the thing. It's a huge thing, and it's a difference if you're building a 2 megawatt data center on risk. It's a completely different thing if you're doing 74 megawatts up. In that perspective, and the money that is behind that. And the one thing also that might differentiate us also from many other of our industry peers is that we start building speculatively. And that is one thing, when I was a customer, the one thing that I always said is like, if you're asking me where to build and you haven't put a stone, and it's too late, come with me with a portfolio and say, look, here we are. We've started. You can still amend, but we're not going to wait until you make a decision.
I'm going to ask you about that because I mean everything when I'm talking to the investors, when I'm talking to the rest of the industry, it's speculative build is dead. Nobody will go near an investment of however much initial fund rounding unless there is a client.
Yeah.
And so what you've done is exactly the opposite.
Correct.
Of what the market. Do you think you've managed to do that because of the background, or do you think there's actually more of an opportunity for people to be able to go and build that speculatively, regardless of what the money men are saying?
So I think both in that sense. So we're doing that also in new markets, right? Where we don't have an existing customer base. I mean, of course, the main customers are the same ones globally, and we have a good relationship and all of that. So I do think that it is something that is a big, puts us on a different level. It is a big risk, and I'm also very, very thankful that we have investors that trust in our knowledge. And I think why do we do it, and why can we do it? If you look at the Vertus team, the Vertus management team, was very, very knowledgeable people, right? It's not just one or two people. It's all of them. They've been in the industry for a very long time. We have, our client directors team, excellent relationships with our customers. Our, business development team, we've brought a lot of people from the customer side, a lot of people with a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, what makes it special, is because it's nobody knows, not even the customers know exactly how the future is. It's about how do you triangulate the data? What do you think, how is AI going to evolve? Nobody really knows that yet. But we have our forecasts, we have our trends, we have the people that do our site selection that just, have that right gut feeling, have that little, it's like, this is where we should be. So it's a lot of soft skills, right? That go into it. And yes, do we always make the right choice? We will see in the future. But I think until now, it's also if you are a company that has built a lot of trust, also the customers will, even if they might have not thought to that site is the right thing, they was like, well, if a company with so much experience has chosen that, there must be a reason, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think all of that putting together is what makes this work.
And so with your forecast and your trends, obviously nobody has a crystal ball, and the way things are moving on the technology side makes this such an unknown. And when you're planning for things that have a lifespan of 30 years plus, it's very, very difficult, certainly from the design side, from what you're trying to, we were talking about 1 megawatt, it's just insane. So trying to then extrapolate that to another is really, really difficult. But from what you're seeing in the UK market, do you see that being a blocker? Is that going to be a game changer in 5 to 10 years for companies that haven't got it right, that haven't been able to track the trends and build to what we see is going to happen in the future? I mean, I know that's a really difficult crystal ball question, but...
I think there's still a lot of opportunity in the market, right? And if you might have not gotten it right at the beginning, doesn't mean that you cannot evolve, change accordingly. Of course, what becomes more of a challenge is the size of the data centers. Yeah. So before, when you were talking about 100 million of investments, now you're easily going to the billions. So a mistake will cost more. Right, so I think that is where we are going to see, okay, which ones are the companies that really have that financial backing, right? The ones that don't will struggle through a mistake, or let's not call it a mistake, but through a bet in a different direction. So I do think that the market still has a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of unknowns, but the unknowns are less in the direction that demand's going to decline. It's going up. And even if we.
But where's that demand coming from? Because I've again loads of conversation different, and everyone has got a different view on this. For the last 5 years, it's been hyperscale. Now it's AI. I think the proper end users, have been forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where do you see that going for the UK market?
So I think that. AI is there, it's coming, right? AI has already been there for a long time, right? I think the first AI models, they started in the 50s, so right, way long before cloud actually came in, and it has always, but now AI has become tangible, so people understand it more, use it more, so that's why that big hype. I still, as my personal opinion, I still think that the big driver still is the cloud, right? Especially in a market like UK. We're seeing this massive growth of AI in the US. I think there's still a gap between what's happening in the US
and what's happening
here because of our regulations, our policies, the different ways that can be built, power, etc. Will that maybe come more and more here? I do think we will get a piece of it. We absolutely will, and it probably will be bigger than what we think it is. But when? I don't know, right? I think right now the growth is still the cloud, still the hyperscale. There's still a lot of opportunity from the end customer of going more and more digitalization. It's not all, and AI models being embedded in the current cloud. So,
and then last question: do you think that for future build, for any future plans, it has to go across the rest of the UK as opposed to staying within that London orbital?
It's a very good question.
That's why I saved it for last.
So it is not so easy to just build, just because there's power and land, let's go somewhere completely different, right? There's a lot of technical requirements and everything that make that switch or that change. It's possible, but it's very costly also for the end customers. Unless it is, if it's a completely new product, I think there absolutely is opportunity. If it is embedded within the existing cloud, within the existing regions, I would say I would more and more say that those regions will expand a bit more, like the distances, but not completely somewhere else. But nevertheless, that is today. Technology changes, and I think we need to stay agile, right?
And that's the key, isn't it? Is that flexibility.
Yes.
It's being able to flex. Something comes up that changes the game.
Correct.
And being able to know that you can flex really quickly.
Correct, yeah.
Christina, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here for a chat today. We look forward to seeing you at our Platform UK event. This is Nicola Hayes from Platform Insight, and I look forward to seeing all of you at our Platform UK event too. Thank you.
Thank you.